Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we'll talk about exception handling. We'll discuss exception handling, we'll talk about text file exceptions. We do have a finally clause, we'll be talking about that. And then we will talk about multiple exceptions handling. So remember one thing, whenever you write a program and you have an error message, it will crash your program, it will break your program, and you may have unexpected results. Imagine if you're working on a database and in the middle of the time your program crashes, you cannot believe how much damage it will make to your database. So whenever you write a program, try to avoid crashing the program. Always catch the exception. So whenever error happen, it will raise the exception and you have to catch and solve and must handle that exception in your application. For that matter, we have many exceptions commands available. So we have to pick the relevant exception for relevant issue. So we do have a system exception, we have an index out of range exception, then we have divided by zero exception, and so many exceptions. So let's see the example. Now, if you look at this example, we are having divided by zero exception. We did not catch, so we will be having an error message from the system, and the message will be that unhandled exception. There was an error message, there was an exception that is raised, and your program did not handle that exception. That is why you get the message unhandled exception. So let's copy and paste this code, a simple code, and put it into my notepad, and I save it and I can compile it. CSC e8.cs is the name of the program. Oops, language problem. e8.cs, compile it, and now I can run the program. So it will give me an error message. It is the same error message that I showed you here. Unhandled exception system, unhandled exception system divided by zero. So this is the actual exception that we need to catch. Okay, and the message is attempted to divide by zero. Where? In this program. This is the class, this is the method. So in this method we are having this problem. So it is giving you the whole trace. So how to handle this exception? Let's see on the next slide. Oh, to handle the exception, we must use try and catch block. So what we will do is, wherever we are expecting a problem, we'll put that statement into the try block. And then we'll catch that exception. So whatever we are expecting, what kind of exception we are expecting, we have to catch that exception in this part. And remember, every try must have a catch. So every try must have a catch. You have two tries, you must have two catches. Okay, so let's see the next example. Okay, so in this example, what we are doing is we are trying to catch the exception. So this is my problem. This is the statement that I'm expecting a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'll just, this is the try block, and now I will be catching my exception, that is divide by zero exception. If you see here, this is divide by zero exception, and this is this is the object that I'll be creating for that. And then I'm gonna say, okay, system.console.writeLine, and in the message I'm gonna say e.message. Now e.message is a property in the exception class that will display the message. Okay, let me close my exception. I open it and I open it here, and I have to close it here. This is the closing of the program, this is the closing of the class. Save it, and I can go up there and I can compile this program. Okay, so I am having, so he says, I don't know what you're talking about this namespace, because this namespace is available in a class system. So I have to, either I can write system here, or I can say using here and then system. So it will automatically look into this library and it will find this one. So let me clear the screen and compile the program. And now E8. So now it will break the program, but it will come inside, it will catch the exception, and it will display this message, and it will close the program properly. So let's see that. You see that? So I got the message attempted to divide by 0. By the way, I can give my own message as well. So instead of writing e dot message, I can put my message. You are trying to divide by 0. You see that? So I can save it, I can compile the program. I got a warning message, no problem. And then you see, you are trying to divide by 0. You see that? I can give my own message as well. So how about if I use E, this object, because whenever the error happens, it will raise this object, this exception object. So I'm trying to display what is available in this E. It will have a complete detail of the error. So let's try CLS and E8. You see that? So this time I did not find the unhandled exception, because I'm handling the exception and I'm trying to display the message. So system divided by 0 exception, attempted to divide by 0, add, divide, blah, blah, blah. So now we are getting the complete message in this object. Okay. Now let's see text file. Okay. So let's see here what we have in this example. Now in this example, what we are trying to do is, I'm trying to create a stream reader variable, and then I'm trying to create the stream reader object with the file name. So this is the file name that I will be. So for example, if I say data x.txt, so it will try to open a file name with the data x.txt, and it will give that file name object to this f, which is of the type stream reader, like that. Now, if the file is not available, it will raise the exception. What kind of exception? IO exception. And by the way, this stream reader is available in system.io. Either I say system.io at this place, system.io.streamreader, or I can just specify here using system.io, then it will automatically look for this stream reader in that. Now, there is no data file, datax.txt file, there is no file, such file, so it will raise the exception and it will display the message here. And this is the commented line. We'll talk about this one. So compile it, clear the screen, E8. Now, if you see, we are handling the exception, but we are displaying the complete message that is available in the object E, exception object, IO exception object. So that's why we didn't have the unhandled exception. You see that? So this is the exception, file not found exception. That is in the IO. Could not find the file. Okay. And what is that? Data C#, data x.txt. And then the complete path, where is the issue, where is the problem, and it is coming from the program IO error class dot main method in the string. So from there it is coming. Now, if I say dot message, you will see I will get the small message that could not find the file, like that. Let me go here and then I can say compile it and then run it. You see that? Now, for example, here I catch the error. Okay, let me go back here and display the E object, and then because the file was not there, and again I can say data X here, And now I'm trying to create the object again. Let's see the difference between this error message and this error message. This one I'm trying to catch, but this one there is no catch. There is no try catch. Okay, just keep in mind. Let me compile it. CLS E8. Now you can see that. Okay, so if I just go up, now if you see, this is the one that I catch. So there is no unhandled exception, and it displays complete error message. Now this is the one that is the second one that I did not have a try catch. So you can see that I'm getting the exactly same error message, except I got additional unhandled exception. You got the point? So this is how let's see another slide. Okay, now we have the finally clause. Remember, this finally clause is an optional. It must come after the catch. And remember one thing, if there is an error message or if there is no error message, it will go to the finally block, no matter what. Keep in mind, this is very important exam question, that whenever the finally clause you use, whether there is an error or there is no error, it will always be executed. So let's try. So we are having another program. Let me go ahead and copy and paste this program that has the finally. Now in this one, again, system IO clause, because I'm using the stream reader, I got a string line. Now I want to read line by line data from this file. So for this F, I'm saying stream reader, new stream reader, data file, data.txt. Let me see if I have the data.txt, by the way. So I don't have the data.txt. So what I have to do, I have to create. I think I'm having some data file somewhere here. Okay, I have a data one. So what I can do is I can copy, maybe I can CLS. I can copy data1.txt to data.txt. There you go. Now I'm having a file, so it will open the file, and now I'm trying to read. Listen, it will read the value f.read, and it will bring the line into this line. And if this line is not equal to null, it will come inside. So this is while statement, and it will keep on looping until it find the null. Yani end of file comes in. That is why it will return the null to the line number, to the line variable. So I'll display the line and then I'll close the file. If there is any problem in opening the file, it will raise the exception. And finally, it will go to the finally, it will display these dotted lines. Remember, if there is an exception or there is no exception, it will go to the finally block. So let's see. Let me compile the program and let me execute it. This time we had the file, so it will read the file, it will display the data line by line. You see that? And then since there was no exception, even then it comes and calls this one. And by the way, this finally is the part of try. Okay, keep in mind this. So let me make it more visible, this code. This is my catch block, this is my catch block, and this is my finally block, and this is my finally block. You see that? So this is all one part. So like that. Now let me change the file name to data X. So this time I don't have the file, it will raise the exception, it will come here, and then we'll see if it comes here or not. It should come here. So I can compile the program, CLS, and then I can execute it. This time I had an error message, could not find the file, but still it goes to the finally block. As I mentioned before, no matter what, there is an error or there is no error, it will go to the finally block or finally clause. So now let's see how we can handle the multiple exceptions. Okay. So this time, let's see. So I can copy paste this program. Now let's discuss the program. This is my divider program. And what I'm doing is, okay, I display that this is before division and I got a variable I, and now I will pass the value through the arguments. You remember the arguments that we pass the value through this array? Because this is a string, so we are trying to convert the string into integer with the help of integer.parse. So int.parse, we are expecting two variables. Okay, first variable will be in argument 0. This is my array first location and this is my second location, and then I will divide I by j, and then I'll say okay after execution. Remember one thing, if there is any error message, this will never be executed. No, from this line, if there's an error on this one, it will bypass this line. It will never go for this line. It will jump directly to the first exception. It will check, is this the exception that I'm looking for? If so, then it will go inside and then it will jump to the finally. But if it is not the exception, then it will go for the next exception. Is this the one that I'm looking for? No. Then it will go for the next one. Is this the one I'm looking for? No. Then it will go for the finally. Okay. But if it is this one, it will go inside and then it will jump outside to the finally block. So let's try this example. I have compiled it. Okay, so he says that we have variable e that is declared but never used. No problem, it is a warning. We can just ignore this part, e8. By the way, now I will pass the value. So for example, what I will pass the value? I'm going to pass a value, for example, I'll pass no value. Let's see what happens. He says before division, okay, so it comes up here, it printed the before division, then it tried to divide, but then it jumps. It never go for the after execution, it jump for the index out of range exception. You see that? Because he's expecting some value here, he's expecting some, oh, index out of range. So at the first line, we got an error message because he's expecting some value and there's no value. So that's why, and you see, it went up there. It says, is this the index out of range exception? No. Is this the index out of range exception? No. Is this the index? Yes. Okay, display this one. Index out of range exception, IOORE. You see that? IO. And then it goes to the finally block. Okay, it goes to the finally block. Now, let me try again with a value 5, 0. 5 and 0, not comma. E8, 5, 0. So now the 5 will go to the argument of 0, it will become I, and 0 will go to the argument of 1 and it will become j. So I by j should be, so it will divide this one, it will display this one, but it will never display this one because we got an error message now. So let's go and see. There you go. This time the message is different now. Before division, yes, it is there. It went up before division, then it has done this thing. And now while dividing, I got a problem of arithmetic exception. Divide by 0. By the way, now I'm displaying ARE, any arithmetic exception. Why not I can use e.message and see what happens. So let me compile the program and I can say E8 and I say 5 and 0. You see, before division it was there and trying to attempt to divide by 0 and then I got FB. So after catching this error, it jumps directly to the finally. Now, for example, if I say 5.0 and then I say 1, for example, or 1 like this, now we should be having another problem because we are expecting integer and I'm passing non-integer. Let's try that. Okay, so it says before division, yes, it went up there before division. Then I'm trying to give 5.0 here. So there's a problem in the format of the number. So it went up there, it says format exception, FE. You see that FE? So it went directly to the second one and then finally block. Try to change this finally to say, for example, e-message, e.message, and let me compile it again and clear the screen, and then I say okay, this 5.1 comma 1 space 1, and you see that input string was not correct in a correct format. So when it comes here, it was 5.0 and the exception got raised. So it even didn't come to this line, it didn't come to this line, and neither this line. Directly jump from here to the exception arithmetic. Is this the exception? No. Is this the exception? Yes, format exception. So give the message and then jump out of the finally block. So this was the multiple exception handling. So we are handling the exceptions, more than one exception in a program. That's it for today. كفار مجلس سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.